It was late afternoon when Jesse decided to cut through the woods to save time on his drive. The forest was dense and quiet, the kind of quiet that feels like it's hiding something. The air smelled damp, the sun barely piercing through the thick canopy above. As he drove down the winding road, the hairs on his neck started to rise. The trees on either side of the road seemed to stretch taller, their twisted branches clawing at the sky. There was no other car in sight, and his phone had no signal. But then, in the distance, he saw someone. A figure stood at the edge of the road, not quite on the shoulder, but close enough to seem like they were waiting for something. A hitchhiker. Jesse slowed down, curiosity pulling at him. The person wore a dark, weathered coat, and their face was obscured by the shadow of a wide-brimmed hat. Their thumb barely moved, but it was enough to catch Jesse's attention. He hesitated, wondering if he should just drive on. But the woods felt suffocating, as if something was closing in. His mind raced with thoughts of getting back to the main road. Yet, against his better judgment, he pulled over. The hitchhiker didn't speak when Jesse rolled down the window. The air was still, and the person's eyes were hidden beneath the shadow of the hat. But Jesse swore he saw something glinting from under the brim. Something sharp. "Where are you headed?" Jesse asked, trying to break the silence. The hitchhiker finally lifted their head. The face that looked back at him was unnervingly pale, with cracked, dry skin, as if it hadn't seen sunlight in years. Their lips barely moved when they spoke. "Just up the road. You'll see me there." The voice was raspy, barely audible over the hum of the car engine. Jesse swallowed hard, instinct telling him to drive off, but his body refused to obey. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, but he gave a shaky nod and opened the door. The hitchhiker climbed into the passenger seat. For a moment, the silence was unbearable. Jesse glanced over, but all he saw was the hat, the faint rustling of the coat against the seat, and the coldness in the air growing stronger. Minutes passed, and Jesse tried to make small talk, asking if the hitchhiker needed a ride to a nearby town, but the person didn't respond. The tension in the car grew, thick and oppressive, until the woods around them felt like they were closing in. Then, in a voice too calm for the situation, the hitchhiker spoke again. "You should turn back. You'll see me again soon." Jesse's heart skipped a beat. He didn't answer, just kept his hands tight on the wheel, the road stretching endlessly ahead. But out of the corner of his eye, he noticed the hitchhiker's fingers were twisted at odd angles. Fingers that seemed to move unnaturally, curling like the branches of the trees outside. Suddenly, the car headlights flickered. The woods were no longer just dark, they felt alive, the trees moving like shadows in the corner of his vision. Jesse's pulse quickened. He had to stop. He had to get out. But when he pulled over, the moment he glanced to the passenger seat, the hitchhiker was gone. Not even a trace. The seat was cold, empty. Jesse's heart hammered in his chest. The stillness of the woods seemed louder now, like an echo in his mind. He glanced into the woods, and for a brief moment he saw the figure again, standing in the shadows of the trees. Their thumb was raised once more, but this time there was something different in their eyes. Something predatory. Jesse slammed the car into drive and sped off, not daring to look back. He didn't stop again until he reached the main highway. He never did see another hitchhiker on that road, but sometimes, when he passes the edge of the woods, he swears he can still feel that cold stare following him, waiting for the moment he dares to stop again.